Welcome back to the SnackWalls podcast. I'm Mike Roberts, your host, and we're here to talk about increasing and maintaining diversity in tech beyond the perks. While companies think they can lure people in with unlimited PTO and dogs in the office, we're here to talk about how you keep them.
All right, I'm going to throw it over to our special guest today. In a few sentences, can you tell us who you are and what it is that you do?
Yeah, sure. My name is Tia Hopkins. I am the VP of Global Solutions Engineering at eCentire. We're a cybersecurity organization. We basically provide SOC as a services for our customers. So we hunt for threats on behalf of our customers. And I am also the founder of Empower Cybersecurity, which is a nonprofit organization I just launched aimed at empowering women of color to be successful in the cybersecurity space.
Nice. Cybersecurity is something that a lot of people are talking about, and so I'd love to get your thoughts on some of these questions. From my perspective, it's also an area that I don't have that much experience. I've been writing software for like 32 years, and I always think, cybersecurity is just a very different thing. It's not the same. So let's just kick things off. I'm hearing from some leaders in tech that finding diverse talent is a challenge. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I agree with it. I really try hard to build a diverse team. I think the challenge for me, given that I'm a pre-sales engineering leader, that role in and of itself is a bit underrepresented in the tech space. So then when I take that a layer deeper and try to diversify, the talent pool is just extremely limited. In my last round of hiring, I probably looked at 100 resumes, and I think 2 of them were women. So it's definitely challenging.
Wow. So what do you think contributes to that? Do you think it's the resumes are getting screened off, or do you think it's a situation where there's just not enough people applying?
For me specifically, there's not enough people applying because in my case, the resumes don't get filtered before they come to me. I actually filter them, and I filter based on experience. Honestly, I tend not to look at the name. I just look at, how much of a fit do I think this individual is. And I think, though, that the limited number of applications is due to some candidates self-selecting out maybe too early based on what they see in the job description. And that can be a result of maybe too much being in the job description, or just kind of some of it's imposter syndrome. Maybe I can't do this job. There's just a lot that plays into it, I think. Wow.
So let me ask you this. What do you think about the push to remove the requirement for CS degrees for many of these types of software engineering roles?
I mean, I'll speak to degrees in general as it relates to any technology role. I think in my experience, so I have 2 master's degrees in cybersecurity, and I learned much more by doing. Theory is great. You have to understand how things work in a perfect world. But I think the missing piece in some degree programs is that element of teaching critical thinking, which is really what makes you successful in a role like that. So with it being a requirement, I see it more as I don't want to dilute it and say a nice to have, but I think a requirement is pretty strong because I'm more focused on what an individual can do, is capable of learning, and their passion, more so than I am, alphabet soup, letters behind names, degrees, things like that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. A lot of folks are with you on that. A lot of organizations are still like, nope, gotta have it. But I think it's amazing to see how many large organizations are coming out and saying it's just one piece of what we're looking at, but we're trying to evaluate candidates on a whole variety of skills. So, yeah. What do you think about the apprenticeship pattern for tech roles or for cybersecurity roles?
I mean, I think it's great. Like I said, I learned by doing, and so on the one hand, you have all this information that you can feed an individual, they can learn it, process it, articulate it back to you. But what's important is being able to apply it. And you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what real world problems you're going to have to solve until you're faced with them. So I think apprenticeship go a long way in driving confidence, creating more curiosity, because when an individual is trying to land a job and they're just looking at this wide world of information out there in front of them, it's hard to decide what to latch onto, what to dig into, what to research more. But if you're in a real world situation and you have guidance, that's the important part of apprenticeship as well. It's just not, hey, go do these things. You have some guidance, you know what to pay attention to, and you start to achieve some success on your own. And then your guide is there to validate you. And that, I think, propels individuals forward. So, I mean, I think it would be a fantastic approach.
Nice. All right. I'm going to do it.
I'm working on it.
So what advice would you share with companies that are looking to retain diverse talent? So let's say you get that talent in. How do you make sure they stay?
I think I'll speak to this from a perspective of myself, what makes me stay in organizations. I like to feel valued. And I think in technical roles specifically, you find a lot of individuals that are high performers. They like to know the value that they're adding. They like to know what piece of the puzzle they're contributing to. So it starts there with them understanding that they do have a critical role, making sure they understand how valuable their contribution is, but then also they need to be challenged. They can't just come in every day, do the same thing over and over and over again. That's only going to last so long. The excitement of a new job and a new opportunity only lasts for so long. And if you're not challenged, it becomes old very quick. So I'd say that from a performance perspective, and feedback is incredible. Just having someone constantly wondering how they're doing is uncomfortable. But then on the other side of that, when it comes to diversity, just making sure the policies that are in place in the organization and the port systems, et cetera, make an individual with a diverse background feel welcome and supported within the organization, because sometimes things can be off-putting to an individual that a company hasn't even thought about. So part of the effort in recruiting and retaining more diverse talent, sure, it's about knowing where to find the talent and, taking a deeper look at diverse talent, but also making sure your company is ready for diversity in terms of the support available to this pool.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of folks go off with a great plan in mind, with a little bit of experience. Then they sort of realize that they're having to keep going back out. They're having to keep finding folks because they don't stay. And then they sort of shift their attention to this second half, which is how do you create an inclusive environment so that when people do come into the organization, they want to be there. They can bring their full selves. To your point, they're going to have that feeling like they're a part of the team and they have a career path, they have a journey, they're getting some feedback, and they're really valued as being part of the organization and not just tolerated. Right? It's just what it feels like sometimes. Like I'm just being tolerated.
I can relate. Yes.
So, who's someone like yourself that you think you'd like to acknowledge and think would be a great guest on a podcast like this?
Oh, there are so many fantastic individuals out there. If I think about, and I'm shifting my focus to women of color, of course, but I just think about the amazing individuals that are doing so much in this space. But I think one that sort of bubbles up top of mind for me is probably Kirsten Bragger. Have you spoken with Kirsten?
I have not. So she's now on the radar. See if we can get her on the program and find out what's going on.
All right.
So final and most important, actually, before we do the most important question, I want to hear more about what you're doing, your company. So where can we find out more information? Tell us a little bit more about like what you got going on.
So for my day job, eastendtire.com, that's where you can find us. We are pretty much the leader in the space. We're the creator of the space. So the actual space is managed detection and response. So it's really an evolution of managed security services where historically organizations are dealing with alert fatigue and just, chasing down false positives, et cetera. And we are taking the complexity out of that. So that's eastendtire.com. And then my nonprofit, that is empowercyber.org. And so that is my version of creating this, apprenticeship type environment. But, it's not just about the technical skills. It's more about the individual and the confidence. And what we find in a lot of women, especially women of color, is the competence is there, but often the confidence is missing. And the unfortunate thing is that sometimes confidence can be mistaken for competence. And so we are looking to drive more confidence in these women that, they can be successful, they can have a voice, they do have a seat at the table. So we're doing that through mentorship, educational programs, professional development programs. And so, the goal is to diversify or paint the pipeline, as we say.
Nice. Paint the pipeline. I haven't heard that before. That's good. I like that. Awesome. All right. So here we go. Tough question, but I think you're up for it. What have you been snacking on lately? What's your favorite snack?
Oh, man, it's just makes me feel so boring. I'm actually not much of a snacker, but when I've just gone all day without eating and I need to grab something, it's a Snickers bar.
Ooh, Snickers is good though. Snickers is
my go-to.
Yeah, I like that. Snickers was really like, I wasn't a big candy eater when I was young, and now I got all kinds of issues. So I'm not supposed to be eating sugar, so I can't really eat Snickers bars now. But they were my favorite. There are a few other ones that I were like, that's tasty, but the Snickers was the jam. If Mom said, "Okay, you can have one, pick one," it was always Snickers.
Yeah, I'm not really not much of a sweet eater. I don't really do desserts or anything like that. But when I do have a sweet tooth, that's it. I don't even have to think about it.
Yeah, that's a good one. Awesome. Well, thanks again, Tia, for coming on the program. This has been a wealth of knowledge you've shared in just a small bit of time. So thank you once again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
The San Diego Code School is a proud sponsor of the SnackWalls podcast. The San Diego Code School is leading companies to tech equity. The tech-enabled apprenticeship program is a venture whose heart is to do a lot of social good and do good work. You can help San Diego Code School secure funding for change by hiring developers, bringing a team in to relieve your backlog, or becoming a program sponsor. You can visit us on the web for more information at http://stcs.io.